it's good to give opportunities to UK corporates that may be struggling in their domestic market. So, for example, we know that it's been very tough for companies at domestic level, trading the Eurozone, so it's given an idea of perhaps where they could go outside, and indeed a player such as us who can be behind them to protect them, advise them and guide them when things go right or wrong.
For me, the big benefit they give, they obviously give a safety net to people where credit insurance is required, but the bigger part for me is information. So being able to inform people why we can't get insurance, what are the risks we're dealing with those customers, and we're very much looking at emerging markets ourselves. So we're looking at Brazil, Mexico. We've done a lot in Australia. So again, in those emerging markets, we really want to understand how things are structured, what sort of business information we can get.
Something is happening in the BRICS, clearly. I mean, we have downgraded almost all the growth outlook of the BRICS. Russia has had a terrible first quarter. Brazil has had a very disappointing first quarter. China, of course, as you know, has been a bit disappointing, although the numbers are okay. They are in line with what's more or less we expected, but they're also a bit disappointing. And India was not that great. So something is happening in the BRICS, and what's happening now, I think, is that those long-term issues that were more or less hidden behind the carpet are now becoming short-term problems. You name it, infrastructure in Brazil. You have now a problem of infrastructure that is really impacting growth. Governance in Russia, clearly. I mean, you see now that people and Russians do not invest in their countries. There is a lot of capital flights, and it's beginning to hurt your growth. Again, the first quarter was terrible. And China, so I will end with that. What is the problem with China, I think? It's leverage. I think there is a big issue now within the Chinese economy of leverage.
And I would say the other sort of main engine of growth in emerging markets, this rising middle class and the opening up of trade opportunities, both within emerging markets, but also from the emerging markets to the advanced economies. Really, a lot of that engine is predicated on some crucial structural reforms and political stability in some of the emerging markets. And I think investors generally are getting a bit more nervous about some of the progress that we've seen on those reforms.
To come to a conference like this, which touches on areas like Russia, India, it's useful for us to see what other people are thinking of, and also that COFACE are also addressing the situation in these countries so that their clients can perform better. I think one of the publications that COFACE produces, Country Risk, is invaluable. For us, looking at African countries, it has all the full economic backgrounds and history of the countries. So COFACE as a whole, I think, does supply good information to clients like us. In some ways, it's comforting to know that we can apply for a risk, and there's an organization that has up-to-date information on the countries that we wish to deal with, and would give us their professional view of what we would face in those countries. And we take their ratings and opinion seriously.
I mean, for us, we've got a broad spectrum of customers, and it allows us to know that the vast majority of our customers are safe risks. COFACE have got lots of experience in understanding the metrics of their companies, and know that we can deal confidently with the customers that they feel comfortable supporting from an insured risk point of view. But at the same time, if there are risks out there in the marketplace with some of the customers that we don't have the resource and the experience to track, COFACE as our partner out there, identifying those issues and alerting to them to us before they become a serious problem for us, and we think that's very valuable.
I think information's the key, and so we are very lucky as an insurer because we're not just relying on publicly available information such as accounts or status information. It's also the experience of our policyholders, and when I say our policyholders, it's policyholders around the world, not just domestic, and they could be supplying the same corporate various different products or services. So you could have us insuring a major supplier or indeed a very small supplier. And the fact that one of them may not be paid or may not be paid on time, or payments start to slow, is a very good indicator that we can feed that information out to other customers. So we, as I say, have a wealth of information, and hopefully we demonstrated that during the course of the conference this morning.